don't go in there and make their experience bad. Like if I go in there and say, hey, H&R Block taxes are coming. It's awesome. You love taxes, right? Here's the sweet new 1040. Everyone's checking it out. No one likes you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Leaderboard Insights podcast. I'm your host, Chad De Luca, head of East Coast Brand Partnerships at Overwolf. Today, we're diving into a category you wouldn't instantly associate with gaming, the tax sector. We aren't talking about boring spreadsheets. We're talking about how a legacy brand like H&R Block has moved into the metaverse to protect a whole new generation of gamers and non-traditional income earners. Joining me is the architect behind much of this strategy, Andy Martinson, Senior Marketing Manager of Media Strategy at H&R Block. And he's in charge of gaming, TV, audio, and out-of-home media. He has 18 years of experience in media strategy, reporting, and implementation, and has led H&R Block's gaming strategy since its inception. Andy, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Chad. I appreciate that. I have some notes just to make sure I answer your questions right and get everything correct. Thanks, Chad. I appreciate it. Just kidding. That's bad jokes. Bad jokes from the tax guy, man. Right off the bat. Love it.
You love bad jokes and dad jokes. Well, I think let's just start with you. So, you've been at the center of some of the most non-traditional campaigns we've ever seen. You focused on immersion and engagement as a priority. And when it's done correctly, obviously the impressions and results do follow. Could you just tell our listeners a little bit more about your role and what it's like to try to explain Roblox or Minecraft strategy to your marketing leadership at a tax service company? How have you built trust over time to where they know that you'll always deliver?
Absolutely. So my role at H&R Block and the media stuff that I get to done, how I explain it to people is I get to play with all the fun toys. So I have this sandbox, and in this sandbox are all these really fun things. We've got TV, we've got gaming, audio, out of home, billboards, all the fun stuff. And pick them up and playing with them puts all the pieces together in a way that makes a lot of sense. And that's how I explain what I do. Now, the nitty gritty of how we do it at Block and how it actually comes to fruition is a little bit different, right? So explaining gaming specifically to a board who doesn't really know necessarily what gaming means is taxing. I told you I was going to come with this bad dad joke today. This is going to be a solid podcast, by the way. Tune in, guys. You are in for a treat. So I started off with gaming adjacent. So I think of like things like Twitch or like your Spotters, Studio 71, your folks that are like, they're about gaming, they're around gaming content, but they might not be the games themselves. And starting with that, I just brought up in a session one day, hey, what do we think about an avenue that we can talk to people where they're spending time like Twitch? And everybody looked at me and said, what's a Twitch? I said, that's a great question. Let's talk about it. And just explaining kind of what it is in a term that makes sense to everybody else. And by that, I mean, liken it to something they know. Twitch is a platform where people go and stream about gaming. This is years ago now. It's expanded quite a bit, but you talk about gaming, or this is content from games that then have ads around them. And we can sponsor them. We can put our traditional ads around this, and we could be associated with things like gaming or with streams about gaming. And from that point on, it was like, it's kind of like a social thing. Oh, it's more like display. It's more like OLV. Now the bosses and leadership are understanding a little bit more of what I'm talking about. Yeah. And from there, you slowly expand up. And it comes, okay, I want to talk to you more about Twitch, but how Twitch can enhance mobile gaming and some casual gaming pieces, or what we can do with an Overwolf and expand into like more of like a display rewarded video campaign, some stuff with Lunar Client that we're going to be getting into, I'm sure, a little bit later today, and all the fun stuff we get to play with. But it's about playing with toys, having fun with it, and being passionate about it when you talk to leadership, and then liking it to the things that they understand already.
Yeah, contextualizing in ways that people understand. Like, sometimes we're talking about hey, in terms of attention, or in terms of like what this looks like, this is like 1 million TikToks, or this is the equivalent of, 10 CTV spots, and so we've had to do that a few times with clients to really contextualize with them. So it's good to hear that you're a pro with that. I think timing's really funny right now. It's late February. We're heading into March right now. And I think for most people, that means that the tax deadline is looming like a final boss. And so you're actually bringing together two very different things with gaming and taxes that feel like polar opposites. But I think gamers are just notoriously known on being harsh on rigid corporate brands and brands that feel like they don't necessarily understand. They're trying to jam messaging down people's throats. What are your rules of the road so that you're demonstrating that you understand gaming consumers and you actually want to help? Is there a blend of pure audience strategy, like be where they are, as well as showing up in a way that resonates and connects with those gaming consumers?
I think it's a mix of those. Legitimately, like this is God's honest truth here. How I approached gaming initially was one of two ways. It was either go in and break it all the way. Like just go in and be like, we're taxes. Taxes in gaming makes total sense. Absolutely here. Of course you need us. Or go in there and be like super authentic to the game. I leaned into the second one. As much fun as it would have been to just go in and just like go nuts on it, I think the more authentic version made a little more sense for our brand specifically, and kind of a little bit more how conservatively we like to kind of step into things. But what that means is be authentic. My baseline go-to with anything I do, especially around gaming, is go in there and make sense for the player. Don't go in there and break their game. Don't go in there and make their experience bad. Like if I go in there and say, hey, H&R Block, taxes are coming. It's awesome. You love taxes, right? Here's the sweet new 1040. Everyone's checking it out. No one likes you. And then you've upset people. And our gaming community, as a gamer myself, we don't like that. And we're kind of vocal about it when we are upset about things. So my impetus with working with anybody or working with the channel is, how do I go up and show up in an authentic way that is additive to the behaviors that people are already like doing? So I'm playing on Roblox. I don't want to go in and get interrupted in my game. But if I get hit with a brand experience in my game that gives me something that adds to my gameplay, that makes it like, hey, I'm surprised this brand is here, but they're actually giving me something fun to do. And I get something cool out of it, like a walking piggy bank that shoots money out. Hint, hint. It's fun. It's actually something you want to do and interact with that brand. You want to come back for more. You might not be getting hit over the head with a brand message, but you're getting introduced to a brand in a way that makes sense for you where you're playing and gives you something for it. It's not just, hey, I was going to use a really, really specific example that would have probably made somebody mad. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to keep it even keel.
I think so. What you're kind of drawing on is like you're earning the right to be in somebody's space, right? So you're finding ways to be out of. I've called it the Boy Scout Girl Scout rule. You leave a place better than the way that you found it. And so when you're approaching it from that perspective, like you're looking at it like, hey, people are locked and engaged playing, if it's Roblox, if it's, another game, what are ways that we are, people understand that you gotta pay the bills and everything like that within a certain content. But, what are ways that we can show up, humanize our brand and be additive to the experience. And I think you've done a really good job of that. Could you just kind of tell us about when you're communicating this strategy, when you're working with different partners, whether it's us or Discord or Roblox, there's these stereotypes that have existed in the monolith for a very long period of time. I think we're starting to see gaming become more mainstream, in terms of popular culture. This basement dweller, there certainly are those type of people, but I think gaming is more than that. And I think, if you looked in a lineup of people and said, who's the gamer, I think it's a lot more difficult to kind of tell right now. So much so that you're seeing an explosion of people who are creating careers out of content creation. So whether it's UGC content creation as streamers, as TikTok content creators, or even as like user generated content in gaming. So whether it's creating servers or creating tools and mods that people are using. It seems like there is this new generation and wave of people in terms of a profession of these non-traditional income earners that are monetizing passion and abilities, and probably at a very rapid pace, coming out of things like, maybe they're coming out of high school, maybe they're coming out of college, and they're walking into, substantial amounts of money and probably have no clue how to manage that. Could you just talk through the fact that you're seeing people who are these creators potentially earning $30,000 to $40,000 a month, and obviously what that looks like over the course of a year? They're spending ads to promote their content and their mod packs. They're operating likely multi-million-dollar businesses from their bedroom. How do you help that contingent of people and consumers and content creators navigate this new world that they're walking into?
That's a great question. A lot of pieces in that puzzle. I think for us as a brand at H&R Block, given we're a tax company, we're in a unique position where not only can we speak to almost anybody who's 18 plus and probably paying taxes, or even if you're under 18 and you built a UGC or you built a mod that made a lot of money, your parents are probably realizing they can no longer claim you as a dependent and you have to pay taxes. So what do you do? So we're in a unique position to be able to help a lot of those folks, but also the just general public of gamers as well. So I think for us, it's a lot about showing up as a brand. So like being where people are spending their time. That's the most important piece. So folks are spending between 30 to 4 hours at any given moment playing games. If they're a gamer, that's what they're spending their time on, which means they're not watching TV. They're not watching movies. They're probably not playing on their socials unless maybe they're on Discord at the same time and kind of clicking back and forth and going to their servers. But they're just not doing other things. So if you're not, as a brand, showing up there, you're missing an opportunity to talk to a huge swath of people where they're spending their time. They're not going to see your TV ad or hear your audio ad or see your TikTok top post. So showing up there is the first step, letting people know you exist as a brand and that you understand their desires of like, I like gaming. Okay, this brand obviously understands that I spend my time here. They're showing up here. What's this brand? Let me go maybe learn a little bit more. Or now when I see a commercial or hear something else, I associate that brand with something I've already seen. So it gives you that little edge. And then on top of that, with the creator space, that is such a huge part of our economy up and coming right now, is the creator, influencer, gamer, modder, like alt economy. And in this space with like the folks that like TEBx and Overwolf works with, and that huge creator economy that like you and creator community that you guys have, it's a wonderful space to be a part of this world. And in that, my brain is kind of breaking because I want to say so many things. Where I want to go with this is that community needs some help. If you've already shown up where they're spending their time, they know who you are. Now it's a matter of showing up and saying, hey, you're not alone in this. Here's what we can do for you. We've got a myriad of opportunities and options and places and ways for people to get help. You can come into the office. My favorite, I just like to download my stuff, email it to my tax pro and have them do it and then send it back so I don't have to leave my house, which makes it really convenient for me. And then my wife likes to do it herself. So she's just like, leave me alone, I'll do it myself. But all those options then become part of what you're known for. And like, how can you make that community better by giving them those options and letting them know that those things are out there to help them? And then partnering with an Overwolf who has that community connection gives you the opportunity to kind of put brands together and say, oh, I trust Overwolf. I trust their sites. I trust the community. I trust like the TEBx brand. I trust these things. And if H&R Block is working with Overwolf and they're a tax brand, maybe I can trust H&R Block. Yeah. And then build upon those partnerships and build upon that and really truly create like a real partnership between the two brands where it's not just I as the consumer am making the leap, but it's I as the consumer can say, oh, Tebex, Overwolf, help me, and you guys can say, we trust them. Let
Yep.
them help you. And
Yeah.
so I think those are the pieces that the puzzle comes together over time, and you build out the picture, and you're almost working upside down from the puzzle and just putting pieces
Yeah.
in where you think, and then when you flip it over, you get to see what the picture is revealed, and the picture is
Yeah.
going to be beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think where you're hitting on is like you're not. It's not just about advertising. And again, there's nothing wrong with advertising to gamers. Like,
Yeah.
brands need to be able to get in front of their audiences, and that's great. But I think you've taken it a step further where you're like, hey, we are somebody that can help alleviate your pain. Like, you have these pain points in terms of not knowing how to do this stuff. Like, we're here for you. And having the vouch of your different partners, again, whether it's us, whether it's Discord, whether it's Roblox, whether it's the other partners that you work with, having that the stamp of approval and the trust that's been earned, being able to say, hey, we can help you maximize your income and not feel as overwhelmed. Like, again, it's taking a step further of like, hey, we're gonna help this community, we're gonna add value to it. And I think that's something that people in the gaming space take note of. Like, it's not just about showing up and being disruptive, in terms of ads, but it's about like, what are they doing to add value? And I think what's really interesting is like, uh, we have some of our creators who have servers and are working with us to monetize them, or doing mods and trying to monetize them. Again, I talked about it. Some of them are monetizing substantial amounts of money and income. A lot of times they're coming to us because they have their own LLCs or whatever businesses they've created, and they're not getting W-2s or any of these other documents that they need. They're kind of just, they have a bunch of receipts and docs and income statements, and they're like, what do we do? And it's been interesting that we've actually had some of our partners that we work with coming to us and be like, what do I do? Like, who can I go to? And previously, like, we just haven't had any sort of partnership or something set up to where we feel comfortable being able to connect with somebody. And I think what's been really cool about what we've been discussing is developing that trust, showing up. And I think taking it a step further, now that you've advertised on some of the different apps and the websites and doing some of the things that you've done, it's fresh in their minds in terms of, oh, hey,
Yeah.
H&R Block, I got money from them. It showed up in my bank account from H&R Block. Okay, that's interesting. And like, Overwolf and Tebex and CurseForge are vouching for this brand in terms of somebody that I can trust. Like, okay, I feel good about going to them and connecting with them. And so it's just been interesting where there is an actual need for help from a trusted partner, and you're solving that need and that white space. Well, Andy, we're really excited to have this partnership with you. Could you just walk us through and walk the listeners through the partnership and what all the different parts that make up success for us working together?
Yeah, I love the Overwolf partnership that we've developed, Chad. I think the plan we've put together for this season has actually been fantastic. It's an absolutely new thing for us, and given us a way to reach gamers in a space that we've never talked to them before. So across all the different websites and where people are playing in apps, being able to have like gamer lingified like display type units and rewarded video within Lunar Client, where you're going to be able to have an emote that is like an H&R Block emote that kind of follows you around, is so cool. Being able to do those types of pieces, being able to reach the community that Overwolf serves through like our partnership is just something that expands our way to talk to gamers where they're playing, where they're spending time, and in a way that's authentic, which I absolutely love. I think the things that we're going to be doing with deep linking to our Roblox and being able to say, hey, from here where you're playing like Roblox on your experience through like the Overwolf websites, you can see, hey, there's an experience over here with H&R Block. I can click right into that, head over there, see what it is, gather my reward, hit the pinata, get the big reward of the tax day, and then keep playing. And I think that's such a unique, cool way to drive people to our experience, but also not break their experience of how they're playing and interacting with the Overwolf product. So just really, really excited to see the capabilities and the new ways to talk to gamers through Overwolf and what you bring to the table. I think it's really been fun. And we've already seen a lot of success from that.
Yeah.
the clicks, how people are interacting with the brand, with H&R Block through the Overwolf websites and the Overwolf display campaigns we have has been really, really positive.
Love to hear that. I think when it comes to looking at media and planning and what you're doing with different partners, like, do you have boxes that you're trying to tick, or things that you're trying to see that a partner is coming to you with? And I guess for us specifically, like, what was it about our offering that was resonating when it comes to amplifying what you're doing, but also enhancing your strategy to reach these gamers and UGC creators?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that came up recently, I drive carpool in the morning because I'm old and I have 12-year-old. So I drive the carpool in the morning, and I asked the kids, I'm like, what do you guys want to do later? Like, what do you want to do? And I didn't get one, I want to be an influencer. I got one, I want to be a doctor. Okay, that's cool. The Zeke, he wants to be a doctor. That's no duh. But the other two kids said, we want to make money making games. I kid you not. That's what they get. Not prompted. It's not because of this, not because they know what I do. They're like, I want to make money making games. So there's a huge economy coming when people are not saying, I want to be an influencer anymore. They're saying, I want to make money making games. I want to make money doing the things I like to do. So I think there's a huge economy coming. When we pull it back and I think about partners and what the future holds and what I'm looking for, a couple things. I'm looking for, can you expand my reach? So what I found with gaming is not dissimilar to what I found in like audio, which is you've got a certain amount of very large companies that are doing great work. You don't have a ton of overlap between those companies. And I'm thinking the Minecrafts, Fortnites, Roblox, our mobile games, right? With what we're doing on those spaces. But there's a couple really big players, and there's not a lot of overlap in between them. There's some. I play Fortnite and Roblox, but I don't. If I'm playing one, I'm playing it a lot more than I'm playing the other at any given moment. So when I think about partnerships and who to work with, I look and say, we've already seen like a really good, like brand lift studies is one of the measurements we use to measure success for a partnership, a plan, a marketing campaign. We saw huge success last year with Roblox. And when I say huge success, I'm talking like across the audio, TV, out of home, social platforms that we measure, gaming had the highest ROI. It had it was by far, it was like those guys, it was social and then gaming. And it was not even close. People say that they like a brand more when we were showing up on games. And so building off that, I realized, okay, I can go deep. I can spend a lot more money with one platform, go really, really deep, or I can expand my reach. And so for us, not having infinite amounts of money, which I wish I did, but not having infinite amounts of money to play. Otherwise, I'd be like, go deep with every single partner, go nuts, let's blast it out. It obviously works, but all the money on it. But not being able to do that, I look and say, okay, where can I go to expand this reach? Where can I go to reach? I'm reaching my Roblox audience working directly with Roblox. Okay, and I work with like Roblox and Sawhorse within there and directly with the publishers. It's wonderful relationships, and they do a great job. And then I found Overwolf. Chad, you had reached out. We had gotten put together with by Max, our buddy. And so like when he put us together and we talked about capabilities, the capabilities Overwolf has to say, here is the community we have. Here's where they're playing games. Here's where you can talk to people who are playing a Fortnite or playing Roblox or playing Minecraft, who are using Lunar Client to access the tools they like to like go into and see the new like tactics and the new stuff that's coming out, the store, the emotes, all the cool stuff. And so I'm like, great. Well, there's my reach expansion. Now I'm talking to somebody in a different place. And then we just launched this weekend our collaboration with Fortnite. So now I've got Fortnite, we'll have Lunar Client Minecraft, and we'll have Roblox all working together. So it's about how can I spread across? And then as I spread across and I have the reach and I'm seeing the brand lift studies continue to come in and say clients are liking what you're doing and they have more brand affinity. They're more likely to come and actually interact with your brand. And we are seeing that, not just from brand lift studies, but we actually saw our new clients grow last year because of this. I wish I could give you the exact number, but I'm sure my finance people would
Nope.
literally murder me. They would fly to
No,
my
no,
house
no.
and punch me.
Directionally is always good. No, I think it's really good just, when you're just educating people in terms of, when you're creating your media mix and you're trying to look at like, how am I diversifying? And yeah, to your point, like not everybody has infinite budgets. I think it's more relatable for people that are like, hey, I have to be savvy with what I have. And, to your point, do you want to go, an inch across and a mile deep, or do you want to go a mile wide and an inch deep? And so I think you've done a good job of like not necessarily going inch deep, like going pretty far down, across, but having a diverse portfolio so you're talking to different communities of gamers. I think it's always interesting to say like there's no reaching gamers in general because there's so many different types of gamers playing different games in different
Right.
categories. I think what was cool about our conversations was being able to reach a lot of different people playing games at scale, like with us when they're actively playing. And then to your point, the stuff that you've been doing with Roblox, like our deep linking and rewarded quests products that we have, where people are playing, they're using apps as companion apps, they're seeing the promotion, they're clicking it, they're going in, and then there's different ways to incentivize people to spend more time to do some of the different quests that they have and accomplish things and get rewarded for that. So it was cool that it was serving this void and this need that was helping you guys make what you're doing better, which I appreciate. It's always good to be able to have that and not just be a buy because it's a reach tool. So I thought that was great. I think you mentioned this in terms of Lunar Client. Next week we're actually going to be launching that, where we have a rewarded video product where Max, your tax Scott, right? I'm getting that
Yep.
right. Your tax Scott
Guy.
is something that you can actually earn from watching these videos, and then also you're launching your integration within Metro Life. So could you go into the differences between some of these different things, and the difference between creating your own experience versus partnering with an existing experience and doing modding in there. Again, one isn't necessarily better than the other, but I guess in terms of how you're viewing the experiences that you're creating on a custom one versus integrating into an existing community and developing things that way.
I think the gamer community understands that there is no longer the age old adage of build it and they will come. You
Yeah.
can build the best thing ever and the most cool server and the best game, and no one will show up until randomly someone does, and it's like, oh, this is
Right.
brilliant. And then boom, you're off. So from me as a brand, I don't believe I had the trust or the recognition from the gamer community to go in and say, I've got the gravitas to go build something and people will want to come. So for me, it was a matter of saying, who does have that trust?
Yeah.
Where does that exist already? And can I tap into that in a way that, again, doesn't break the game, but works with a partner? And the partner says, we believe in the user first, the gamer
Yeah.
first. Now, do you, brand, believe in that? When we land up in that and say, yeah, we absolutely do, let's make something really fun for the gamers. And that just happens to be a branded thing. Boom. That's the easy play there. You build on the trust that already exists. And honestly, I could build the best game. That'd be the coolest experience. Everyone would love it. But if nobody plays it, I, I've got no marketing. So I'd much rather work right now integrating within games that are like already having like a good user base, and or working with like Overwolf, who has a wonderful community and understands gamer lingo. So not just putting a traditional display ad out there or rewarded video, but actually something that is gamer specific, little
Yeah.
tongue in cheek, a little fun, little like little like nods to the games you're playing, which I think is really cool. It makes a lot more sense because it's authentically showing up. So you're going to drive more business, you're going to drive more interest. But leaning on the trust and the capabilities and the user base that already exists makes more sense for us as a brand. Now, let's say you're a disruptor brand, or you're coming in and you are making like a huge splash, and maybe you want to make your own thing. I would then recommend working with somebody who has already got the gravitas and the trust and leadership, and have them help you make your thing. So you still are using some of their kind of known, like, knownness is not a word. Um, their relevance within the space to give credence to what you're doing. So like you'd go and work with somebody like from Metro Life to go build your experience, and they promote like, hey, I'm building a new thing with this brand. So if you're going to do something like that, you have to be able to say there's a reason for us to show up and there's a reason for you to want to come. For us, we're not there yet. We'll get there. I think in a couple years. Like my goal, I started with Twitch. I've gotten us into Minecraft and Lunar Client. We're working with Roblox and Lunar Client and Fortnite. Pretty soon, we're just in the games. And it's the H&R Block experience that people actually want to come to. I have yet to crack that nut, Chad. So I am open to any and all comments from the entire listenership. If you find a way to make doing your taxes exciting, fun, and gamified, you just let me know. I haven't found the cool new, Schedule F that people just are dying to get. But I'm open to ideas, so feel free, chat, shoot it up.
I think honestly, what nobody has seen this yet, but what you're doing in Roblox, I think is educational, but it is fun too, and it's really hard to do, both of them. And I think we're excited. We're playing a small part in helping more people discover that and make it more fun and earn rewards from participating in that. So it's like, you're going in there and the brand is essentially paying a toll to get the attention. And, in exchange, they have that really cool value connection. I think what we're really excited about is, going from this stage in our partnership to the discussions that we were having. We mentioned Tebex earlier, mentioned CurseForge, and obviously our app and website creators. I think the future for us and what we've been talking about is, how do we give benefits to the UGC economy that works with us, that are essentially like contracted workers, having apps on our platform and websites in our ecosystem, mods, and obviously game servers. You're having people, to your point, the future is these people where, some of the most popular games are over 10 years old and haven't had an actual update to the game in forever, but it's because of these creators that these games are popular and exist. And so there is a future. It's happening. It's obviously going to explode more. I think what we've seen is there's the need for people to have those services, but it's almost like if you work at, a Meta or a Google and you have these company perks of, hey, you get X discount at this hotel, or you get, free Uber, or whatever it is, Uber One or Dash Pass from DoorDash, et cetera. We were like, how do we create that for our ecosystem of people who are contracted workers? And I think that was something that you kind of brought to the table of like, hey, how about we create a partnership where we're doing the stuff, where we're doing advertising, where we're helping drive to what we're doing, we're rewarding people, but then we actually give a discounted rate for full service for people who are modders or app creators, website creators, owners of servers for GTA or Minecraft that are doing payment processing with Tebex. How do we give that back to them? So could you just talk about what got you so excited about being able to fill that void and be that partner that can help these people?
I'm legitimately passionate about helping people.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. When you were telling me about the economy that you guys have and that creator group with like folks that are being paid and are suddenly being paid without a W-2, there's not taxes that are already taken out of this dollars. It's confusing. What do I do with this money? How much of it am I going to go? Oh, if I spent it all, what do I do now? By the way, call me if you spent it all, because we're going to have a conversation. I'll still help you out as best we can, but we're going to have some conversations. But like legitimately, I guess we want to help. We want to be here as like a trusted partner in that space. So what's really appealing, I think, in working with like an Overwolf, and the stuff we've talked about, Chad, over time is people want to know who can help them.
Yeah.
If we can partner with somebody who is already helping them and then become the trusted partner of Overwolf's brand and Tebex and CurseForge, if we are their trusted partner, then it's easy for you to say, hey, person that just got paid from us and has questions to us that we can't answer, you feel good saying, hey, let me send them to H&R Block. because H&R Block will help them and have that trust that we will take care of them as well.
Yeah.
Because we're passionate about what we do. And I think
Yeah.
that comes from everything. You guys, Overwolf, you guys are psychotically passionate about your gaming community. I love that. I mean, that's a big sell for me. When we started talking, it was just back and forth over like gaming experiences and how much fun it can be to like advertise within gaming, but like make it authentic and not break games and make stuff that's fun for people to play and additive to their adventure. That passion, it lines up with our passion. And I was like, that's the partnership. It has to make sense. It has to be the passion on both sides. I don't think I could work with a brand as a brand. I don't think I could partner with somebody that was just like, here's how many people we can get you in front of.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm looking for. I need to know you're going to get me in front of people, sure, but how?
Yeah.
Like, is it the right way? Is it because I almost rather you be vetting me as a partner and wanting to be like, does H&R Block make sense for us? Like, and kind of be like, I want it to be a hard first date. Honestly, I want it to be a hard first date where I gotta sell me to you.
It was. It honestly was. I think that was part of talking to the leadership was like there was a vetting process of that courting and like but I think that's good to be able to have that and be able to say that like it's not any brand that we're going to introduce to our community. And I think you respected just the fact that we really wanted to take our time to ensure that it would resonate and it would be something that made sense. I think where we are in terms of the calendar right now, like it's crazy that it's end of February right now. April 15th is coming very soon. That final boss that we're all going to be encountering. What's the one thing that you want creators to know about, whether they're making $100, $100,000, $1 million, to know, and what's kind of that dream from H&R Block for the rest of the year? What does success look like?
Loaded questions, right? Real easy ones. What do you see success being for the future, and how do you want people to what's their takeaway? Legitimately for creators, like if you're a creator and you're making money, or you're doing mods, UGCs, you're got something blowing up, or you're just making a couple $100, save some money, put it aside. Uncle Sam's coming calling. Our job is to literally make sure that they don't come calling for more than you possibly have to give them. Yeah. And so ask questions, ask your partners, ask the people you trust in that community what they would do. Like ask those questions and then go find the answers. I'd love to be like the answer for that, but I understand like I'm just a brand as well. And I have to earn that trust too. So hopefully what I'm doing is slowly building those trusts by being and showing up in places that are authentic for gamers and for like folks that are like building the community. But save some money just because you're going to need it. And keep investing in it. And then at the last question I think you had is, what does success look like going forward, right? What's my aspirations for 2026 and beyond? So taxes are weird. They kind of start in January and they kind of end in April. I mean, technically they end. There's there's October 15th. There's extensions. There's all sorts of nuance in there.
You can prepay. People don't know that, especially if you're paying and you got to fix those things.
Yes. Sometimes you have to prepay whether you like it or not. Right. You get those fun penalties, right? That come through, that fun little letter from the IRS. Expect in August, and you're like, oh, cool, that's fun. Wanted to have that happen. But aspirationally, what I just want to have come from like the gaming community is that us as a brand become so trusted that it makes sense for us to be wherever we show up in this community, without having to earn the trust each time. So that's my aspirations. Secondarily though, I truly think what I want to have happen is I want more ad revenue in gaming. That means more people are making better games, and those games are being played a lot, and people are able to monetize off of that. Yeah, I love that for our community. That only grows everybody, and it helps everybody out. People are making more money. People are having more fun. People are getting to spend time doing stuff they love, playing games or making games or modding games and making income off that. That's a wonderful thing. I also want all of our partners to not charge me more for when I advertise with them. when they're making all these additional monies from all the other ad revenue that comes through. But no, truly, I just want to see the industry continue to go the way it's going. I think as an industry, gaming is so underserved when it comes to ad revenue. From amount of time spent gaming to amount of money spent as an advertiser, it's way upside down. I hope everybody figures that out for the gaming community. I hope nobody figures that out from the marketing community.
Right.
Because it's great for me right now, but truly, I think that's a great space. And if you keep doing it right, and I want to make sure I keep doing it right. So my goal never breaks something until I'm really doing it on purpose, like we talked about earlier. When I come in, it's like, we're gonna break it. Just to make a splash and see what happens. We're going to go admin abuse on the DIY software this year, and everyone's going to get the credits.
I love it. Well, Andy, I really appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much. This is the perfect conversation to enter March and tax crunch time on the Leaderboard Insights podcast. Andy Martinson, Senior Marketing Manager of Media Strategy, H&R Block. It's been a pleasure. I am Chad De Luca, and I've been your host here for the Leaderboard Insights podcast. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Chad. Bye, everybody.